The Prasser government in Queensland is marching towards yet another desalination plant. They got one hanging, which is a great fishing platform off the southern end of the Gold Coast. But the trouble is with this kind of thought bubble, it could send up southeast Queenslanders' water bills by 15%. You know, we in Queensland already know just what sort of a policy disaster that Gold Coast desalination plant was. They won't build dams, but they want to build these steel structures that people can fish from. Anyway, the government wants another. Joining me now is the co-editor of the White Elephant Stampede from the Centre for Independent Studies, a bloke who knows why desalination plants are not really a good idea, Dr. Scott Prasser.
Extremely bad idea, okay?
Why don't they build some dams? I mean...
Well, we should have built the Wolfdean Dam when the 989 was all set to go ahead.
I remember that.
They had taken over the land. The Goss Labor government came in and canned it, okay? And that would have been a fantastic thing because we would have allowed the Wivenhoe Dam and the Wolfdean Dam would have been good to work in conjunction about flood mitigation and preserving water. And producing a desalination plant, it costs 6 times more to provide water from a desalination plant. 6 times more.
I think it's a cop-out, though, on so many fronts. Well, you've got the Olympics coming in 2032, and apart from showering with an athlete, I'm dead set worried that we are going to run out of water in southeast Queensland.
That's right, and we know southeast Queensland is a fast growth area. Gold Coast is a fast growth area. Sunshine Coast, I've just been up there, is a fast growth area. That's where they're proposing to put another desalination plant. So the one on the Gold Coast doesn't work. Now, I suggest they should put the one on the Sunshine Coast at Noosa. I think Hastings Street would be a really good spot. I'm sure that would go down really well with the Noosa people. This is a really bad idea, Gary, on so many fronts. It's bad for the environment. It's bad for the economy. It doesn't give water security. It's very expensive. And these desalination plants, they don't last very long either, by the way. They rust, you know, salt, rust, water.
Yeah, steel, all that sort of stuff.
You know, simple stuff.
OK, so the state opposition, they haven't really come up with a view on this yet?
No, Mr Christophilou said he didn't really have a position on it, which is a bit of a worry for someone who's in opposition, is supposed to be the alternative government. The Mayor of Brisbane says he was agnostic about it. I don't know how he can be agnostic about water supply, which could be very expensive to Brisbane citizens. So that's a bit of a worry.
Well, the trouble is that Brisbane has to take the price that's given it by the state government.
That's right.
And so I guess he can't necessarily have a view on it because he actually doesn't control it. That's
no, he doesn't control it, but he can have a view of it. And the Council of Mayors in the past have been very critical of the desalination plants. The Auditor General reports have been very critical of desalination plants. The ones in Victoria are appalling at what they've cost. Built in 2012, finally completed. Water did not start flowing to 2017, so a really bad idea. So what makes me worry is how these sort of ideas get a Guernsey in the first place.
I think it's somebody's brother-in-law. You know, like I can build desalination plants, now make it a policy. That's how I think it works.
Well, look, SEQ, the chairman of SEQ Water is David Hamill, Dr. David. Now, David Hamill's a smart guy,
yeah,
right?
He is.
Okay.
Yeah, absolutely.
PhD, he's a Rhodes Scholar. He's from Ipswich, so he must be a good person where I come from. And I know him well. And I'm sure, and I sent David an email about, you know, read the White Elephant book, you know, and read the chapter on this. And I'm sure that David understands. He understands economics. He's written books on GST. So come on, David. Come on, CQ Water. Come up with something better. And opposition come up with supporting dams.
Yeah, well, I think they do. The state opposition have made it pretty clear they're in favour of it right through Queensland. And you know, I'm very interested in water supply issues and have been for years on Sky. I've been making very loud comments about that. But White Elephant Stampede, so this book that you're editing, there's a whole lot of numpty, politically motivated ideas.
That's right.
Where do they come from?
Well, they come from politicians who want to be seen to be doing something. Sorry, Gary, to attack politicians. I know it's a cross.
It's the past. No, it's the past. It's okay.
To do something about it, it's a quick fix. It doesn't mean taking hard decisions. And those sort of issues are what drives, you know, White Elephant projects. Okay, you know, we've had the hospital payroll scandal in Queensland, all that money wasted on that. We've had tax schemes for promoting film industry, the submarines in South Australia, which still haven't seen any. So it goes on and on and on. And what people have to understand, when government wastes money on something, it means they can't spend money on something else. Like in education, in Queensland underspends on education. Okay, Queensland underspends
and gets
on
under the average result.
Okay, and it's getting under average results for a whole set of reasons. So when you put money into something that doesn't work very well or waste money, then you can't spend money on something more important that works. That's the problem.
But see, Scott Prasser, I know from your academic life, I studied you many years ago when I was...
you poor devil.
Yeah, I know. You studied some of the things you wrote when I was doing university sort of a couple of weeks ago. But the point is that I don't understand why there's not long-term statements. I mean, I know it doesn't suit the political cycle, but tell us where we're going to be 25 years from now and let's start building towards it. That surely is what they should be doing.
That's right. And, we've got 4-year terms now in Queensland. We can't cry about the, 3-year term business. Yeah. Not that I think makes a lot of difference. But we seem to lack in Australia a strategic vision of where we should be going and how to get there. Both political parties suffer that problem. And our public service, which is increasingly politicised, one of the problems, I think, is public servants are now on contract. 4 or 5-year contracts, or they change with the government of the day. So we don't have public servants who are permanent who can say, Minister, that's a really dumb idea. Okay? Yeah. No, Minister, we're not going to do that. So that's one of the problems I think we've got going on in our political system.
Well, I know that we have, when a government changes, there's a blue book and a red book. The proposals from the Labor Party in the red book, and the proposals from the Liberal Party in the blue book.
I hope they don't get them mixed up.
Well, sometimes I think they do because it's a bit hard to tell the two apart.
That's correct.
But seriously, a competition of ideas about where Australia is going to be X years from now, and a commitment to do something about it. I mean, it's extraordinary. The Pacific Highway between Sydney and Brisbane. There was a 10-year funding program, which broke everybody's brain in Canberra.
Well, we saw it, didn't we, in Queensland, where we had massive growth of people coming to South East Queensland because of no Jeff duties and the actions of the National Party government. And then when the Goss government got into power, they cut spending on infrastructure, right?
Yeah.
So we had all those projects, roads and bridges, and trying to get the airport took you an hour and all that sort of stuff. So government has not been spending money on decisions they've been affecting, like encouraging people to come here. So if you want people to come here, they need water, they need schools, they need roads, they need a long-term plan. So where's the thinking? Where's the brains going on in these processes?
And so along the way, wasting a whole lot of money on things that look good on paper, great announcements.
Short-term, quick bite in the media, we're doing something about this, and so we're going to get some brownie points for it, and not telling the people that this is really a dumb decision. And it's going to cost you, the taxpayer, money, and you, the consumer of water, more. Yes. That's the issue.
So how much more for desal plants?
Well, they cost 6 times more to produce water. Also, by the way, they also use lots of power. Right?
Oh, where's that coming from?
Where's that coming from? So I think some windmills would obviously be the way to do it, On the beaches would be fantastic, to generate some more power for us.
Yeah, okay. Well, obviously nobody's heard of the tourism industry. Windmills, steel things hanging off the coast. Doesn't sound like a very pleasant future.
It's really, really clever, isn't it?
Yeah.
We're looking ahead for Queensland.
No doubt about it. White elephant stampede. All right. Thank you so very much.
Thank you very much.
Dr. Scott Prasser, and we'll catch up again